Mr. Smith will plead guilty to the offense of murder, second degree, a Class A felony as included under count 1 of the indictment, 20 years confinement as a 100% violent offender.
Yo, face! Yo, your face, please, with sugar on top!
So recently, one of the suspects that partook in the unaliving of Memphis rapper Young Dolph was brought to justice. As it said, he was finally sentenced to 20 years in prison for his role in the rapper's death. He would admit after taking a plea deal that in November of 2021, he was one of the guys that shot and unalived the Memphis rapper at a cookie shop, as he stated they trailed him after seeing his car pass by while they were sitting at the light with his co-defendant. Now, interesting enough, Cornelius was also the same guy that cooperated with law enforcement against his co-defendant Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop. It would state that allegedly they both was offered money by CMG, Yo Gotti's late brother, Big Jook, to unalive Young Dolph. Come to find out, allegedly, their attorneys were being paid for someone from CMG as well. But somehow, CMG was never questioned about it, never spoke on it in reference to Yo Gotti, because unfortunately Big Jook himself was shot and unalived after attending a funeral in a parking lot down in Memphis back in January of 2024. So I guess everything died down concerning CMG's affiliation with Jook died, because whether the allegations were true or not, if the feds ever decided to consider doing anything to Yo Gotti and CMG, I'm sure he could just blame it on his brother, because as they say, dead men can't talk. But when it comes to Cornelius, I do find it crazy that he cooperated and somehow still got 20 years out the deal, which is crazy, but I guess anything is something when you're facing life in prison. But now here's the question. When someone's being brought to justice, is their crime any less bad just because they cooperate? Does cooperating make it okay? Because if you took someone's life, whether you cooperate or not, you should still be punished to the full extent of the law. But I guess if you decide to give information, it isn't as bad according to the law, right? Because it's 20 years, and he'll be able to still see the light of day, while his victim can't and his family is left grieving. I don't know about y'all, but we about to get into this video. Shout out to 1090 Jake. I'll leave a link pinned in the comments so you guys can check out the video. But in the meantime, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hype the video so we can get into the algorithm. And if you not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
One of the biggest rats in Memphis has accepted his fate for his role in the murder of Memphis legend Young Dolph, after apparently he ran out of people to snitch on. Cornelius Smith Jr. admitted he was one of the gunmen who carried out the broad day shooting back in 2021. Law enforcement would let it be known within a week of his arrest. Before a deal was ever on the table, Corn made it clear he wanted to cooperate. And cooperate he did. He didn't just admit to his role, he was testifying on everybody involved. In 2024, Cornelius testified against the other shooter, Justin Johnson. He'd state Hernandez Govan approached him.
Yo, I don't know. He needs to either get sleep or every time I see this picture, I just laugh. I don't know what it is. He looks crazy.
About carrying out the killing. Smith agreed to participate for money that was to be paid through Hernandez Govan. He and Justin drove to the bakery in a white Mercedes.
And not to mention, right, to this day, I don't understand how Hernandez Govan was able to skate off on that case, right? It pretty much started with him. And after he was picked up, it was said by Cornelius that he was paid through him from Big Jook. So if they got jail time for their roles in what they did, and this man testified that they literally got the money from him, how was he able to escape prison? I don't get it.
Spotting Dolph's camo Corvette parked outside. They'd exit the vehicle, opening fire with a Glock and Draco. According to Dolph's autopsy report, he was hit a total of 22 times in a span of just a few seconds.
Damn.
His list of injuries would be pages long, detailing gunshot wounds to his forehead, chin, neck, chest, arms, and back. And obviously a Glock is gonna hold a pistol caliber, but a Draco, even though it's a pistol, fires rifle rounds. These are the same rounds that comes out of a full-sized AK-47. These are 7.62. If you've seen something be hit by a 7.62, you can just imagine the damage that was done to Dolph. Hopefully this was a fast and painless death, but this man was hit all over and they literally just destroyed him.
Not to mention, right, when you think about the story that Cornelius said, we went live before and said that it doesn't make sense. It's just so coincidental that they were being paid by Big Jook to catch young Dolph, right? And it just so happens that they were at the light and his car passed by and they had all the tools with them at the time, right? They had the gloves, the mask, and the weapons on them. So how he tried to make it seem was they were just at the light, seen them go past, and they got on them. But how y'all either riding around with this stuff or something's not adding up, something ain't making sense. I always said that they had to drop on them and there's more to the story, but Cornelius said they was at the light, seen them pass by, and they got on them. However, they had all the materials, right? So either they just extra prepared, they ride around with that type of stuff, or somebody lying.
Later helped dispose of evidence and clean down the getaway vehicle that was later recovered. He further testified he expected to be paid for his work and that Govan would be the one to deliver the money. $100,000 was the price on young Dolph's head. $40,000 was Corn's take, but Cornelius would only receive a total of $800 in two separate payments. At one time, he was sent $500. At another time, he was sent $300. So clearly times were tough for young Dolph's ops. And keep this in mind, I don't think I've covered a case in which a bag has been put up on somebody, they got killed, and the shooters actually received the money. So for y'all young dumb that watch these videos and think, oh, we can go get $100K if we crash out real quick but get away with it, I don't know anyone that's actually gotten the money. It seems to play out like once somebody gets spanked and then everything is going down, the case is hot and people are trying to figure it out, the dude that offered you the money in the beginning doesn't want to do with you and is trying to get as far away as he can because he knows everything is coming down.
And he's right, because how many cases have we seen where we hear that money was offered or somebody was going to get money for it and they either don't get the money or they get something that wasn't promised or they get half, right? So let's say 50,000 was put on his head. We hear that these guys got every bit of 10,000, if that, not nowhere near 50,000. In his case, he was told 100,000 and only got $800, right? And then you can't bring somebody back to life. So once you did that, now it's over. And you can't go, what you gonna go to the cops and say? Oh, I caught this body and they didn't pay me what they told me was gonna pay. No, it don't work like that. So this man literally, and no wonder why he wanted to tell, because he literally went and took somebody's life, a high profile rapper from Memphis, took his life, and after he took his life, it was all over $800 because he never got the money he was said to get. And you got caught. So he probably thought, well, you know what? It makes no sense. They already got me. I mean, if I don't say anything, I'm still going to jail. Maybe if I say something, I might get less time, but he still got 20-something years. That's crazy.
With Cornelius testifying and an overwhelming amount of evidence on top of that, Justin Johnson was sentenced to life in prison plus 35 years, just in case life wasn't enough. You know, maybe he dies and comes back. They made sure he still got another 35 to do. The following year in 2025, Cornelius would testify against Hernandez Govan, the man he claimed organized the hit and was supposed to pay the fee. See, at this point, Corn was working against everyone to secure himself an easy way out when it came to trial, but his plan would backfire. Even with Corn testifying, Hernandez Govan would still be found not guilty.
Crazy.
Even with Corn saying Govan gave them the guns to be used, he'd still be found not guilty.
Crazy.
His lawyer questioned the police investigation and the validity of cell phone communications between Govan and the shooters. They argued nothing in those communications directly incriminated Govan or tied him to the killing, and the jury agreed. Now at this point, Cornelius...
And this is why I always tell y'all, for y'all young guys out there, it's not about what you know. It's about what you could prove. We could know that somebody did a crime wholeheartedly, but unless you could prove it in the court of law, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be held responsible. And this is crazy because this is it's like a rare case of when somebody is willing to snitch and the person they snitch on still don't even do time. This, at the end of the day, right? You got to think Cornelius and Straight Drop got no reason to want to do any harm to young Dolph, especially Cornelius. So at the end of the day, what would be his relation to young Dolph to want to do something to him other than the money who he says, because he is the suspect that did it, the money that he says came from Govan Hernandez, who it came through Big Jook, in which we know it's been proven that these guys are affiliated. And we know that Big Jook, along with his brother Yo Gotti, have beef with young Dolph. So how he didn't get, I don't understand, how he didn't get any type of penalization or, I don't know. But shout out to his lawyer.
Cornelius must have been shitting himself because he was willing to throw everyone under the bus to essentially save himself. He was willing to throw the shooter under the bus. He was willing to throw Hernandez, Govan under the bus. Whoever he could tell on, he was gonna tell on to save himself, but the shit didn't work. Like, he tried to put Govan away for life in prison, and this motherfucker walks and starts doing Vlad TV interviews.
All right, here we go. Today we have Hernandez Govan, who just was found not guilty by a Memphis jury of first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder for the killing of young Dolph. Today he joins us to do his first interview after the case. Hernandez, welcome to Vlad TV.
Appreciate you for having me.
Govan's lawyer even painted Corn in court as an unreliable witness who would say anything to try and get a lighter sentence. He'd point out how Cornelius originally said Yo Gotti's brother Big Jook was the one who hired him for the hit, but after he was arrested, his lawyer called Jook's lawyer and received somewhere between $38,000 to $50,000 in cash. Cornelius later testified he didn't know where the money came from. So understand what I just read to y'all. Cornelius had his lawyer reach out to Big Jook, Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook's lawyer. They sent an undisclosed amount of money between $30,000 to $50-something thousand, which is essentially what he was supposed to be paid for the hit. So imagine you go and kill somebody and you're supposed to be paid $40K. And instead of getting that $40K, you get hit with 40 charges because now they got you for murder, they got you for the weapons, they got you for anything. And then dude that owes you the money gives it to your lawyer to fight the case. So now it ain't even about the money, it's about beating the case and you walking for free. So really you just did all this shit for nothing. Cornels,
and you did it for $800. That's what you did it for. You did it for an Uber ride, barbershop, probably get a little haircut, Chinese food because you got hungry. That's about it. You could have found that money somewhere. And the money that you were supposed to get on your behalf, now you got to fight it for your freedom, right? You got to use that money for your freedom, which could have been totally avoided if you would have never did the crime in the first place. But once again, how can they say that he's not credible, but yet they noted that his lawyer did receive money from Big Jook and his attorneys, right? So clearly there is some type of significance between the two. Then not to mention, right, how is he credible to testify against Straight Drop and they use that information, but the information he provides against Govan Hernandez now is incredible? You see the selectiveness, something just a little fishy there.
Also would claim he heard Govan was working for the FBI, which made absolutely no sense as to why Corn would take a hit from him. Because if I think you work for the feds, why would I be willing to take a $100,000 hit, go kill someone for you, expect a $40K, and you not to tell on me?
Maybe he didn't know at the time. But him saying that Govan is working for the feds, you see, like, it's not too far-fetched. Because as we seen in that case, something just wasn't right. Something didn't make sense. Just like how I just explained it. So maybe Cornelius knows something that we don't know. And of course, it's going to sound crazy to the average person. Oh, working for the feds. Yeah, right. I know. But it's not too far-fetched and it's not impossible.
The whole just wasn't making sense. This is like a situation when a dumb tries to outsmart people because he thinks he's smarter than what he is. With his testimony being picked apart, Cornelius was out of options because he couldn't even snitch on Big Jook since they already killed him. So on May 15th, 2026, Cornelius Smith agreed to a plea deal to put an official end to the Young Dolph murder case.
Yes, sir. This is State of Tennessee versus Cornelius Smith. This indictment 2204769. Matter that's been pending in this court for some time. I think it also has been the subject of a couple trials for the co-defendants. Mr. Smith will plead guilty to the offense of murder, second degree, a Class A felony as included under count 1 of the indictment. 20 years confinement as a 100% violent offender. Be served Tennessee Department of Corrections. Taken into consideration in this plea is Mr. Smith's cooperation in this matter. From the time of his arrest until now, Mr. Smith has cooperated fully in the prosecution, first of Justin Johnson, and then in another co-defendant. Taken into consideration is his truthful testimony in those cases.
Corn would agree to serve 20 years in Tennessee State Prison at 100%. He'd receive credit for his time in jail, giving him about 4.5 years off his sentence. So in total, Corn has to serve 15 years and 7 months. And at 36 years old, that puts him at about 51 years old when he'll be released. It's hard to imagine he'll have an easy bit as he's made himself an enemy to everyone involved. Not only is he responsible for killing Dolph, he's responsible for putting away Dolph's other killer and attempting to put away another man who was found innocent.
Not to mention, he unalived young Dolph. Not to mention, he also snitched. Not to mention, now he has beef with a couple of parties. So yeah, he's definitely gonna have a interesting time.
So it sounds like when he goes to prison, he could get stabbed from any direction because he's made himself an enemy to everybody, not even including just the people that were involved in the situation, but he's a stone cold rat. He killed someone, told on everybody, tried to take down as many people as he could to save himself some time. Essentially, he got a good deal in the case. He was given 20 years with credit. So he only has to serve 15 and a half. He got a good deal. And everybody's going to want to put him in the ground. Because not only are you responsible for taking out a Memphis legend, you're responsible for putting away his ops who have just as much money backing them. This is a crazy situation. I don't know how Tennessee State Prison works with PC, if he'll actually be kept away or if they're just gonna put him in the jungle and he's just gotta last. We know he's a killer. We know he's essentially bout the shit. But is he gonna be all of that in prison outnumbered? Because it's hard to imagine anyone is gonna rock behind him knowing that he cooperated. While Justin Johnson, the other shooter, he never snitched. From my understanding, he kept it solid and took the case to the chin. He's just never coming home, which, like, you know, I'm a Dolph fan. I'm gonna be biased in this situation. But it is what it is when you speak in prison politics. That rat doesn't slide.
Not to mention, right, just because Cornelius took the life of young Dolph, that don't mean he's like that. That don't mean he's tough. There's a lot of guys that took people's lives and when they get in jail, they can't survive. You know why? There's no guns in there. There's nothing, and if you use a knife, at the end of the day, you got to be really like that to want to use a knife. Some people, it's easy to fire a firearm because it's automatic, it's 1, 2, 3. To stab somebody, it gotta really be in you. It's a total difference. If you know, you know. But at the end of the day, just because he took young Dolph's life, don't mean that he's gonna be good in jail. Don't mean that he's tough. and we shall see.
But again, this is important for the young dummies out there. This dude wasn't that young when he took this case, when he took this hit, I should say. He was in his 30s. He was just broke as fuck. And this is how people with money will play chess. They will use pawns. They will use expendable people. He's broke as fuck, never had nothing. I'm gonna give him 40K. It's gonna change his life. I'm not even gonna give him the 40K. I'm just gonna tell him I'll give him the 40K. And because he's never had nothing and he knows this amount of money would change his life, he's willing to go and end someone else's life.
Now, for you young guys out there, I can't tell you how to do whatever you're doing, right? But let me give you a tip on handling business, or whenever you, I guess, gonna do something and you accepting money. Never do the deed first and then ask for the money after, right? You're supposed to take a deposit. And, you know, for YouTube purposes, I'm not trying to tell nobody how to do anything, how to commit by, none of that. What I'm saying is in business, period. If you got a clothing business, brand, whatever you are, take a deposit first. You're supposed to take a deposit to start. After you take a deposit to start, that shows that the person is serious. Once you commit whatever you do and commit to it, then afterwards you get the back end. That's what they call back ends, right? So you get an initial payment first, and then you get the money on the back end. However, this man just took a life, was promised $40,000 and only got 800 of those dollars. Crazy, man. Y'all jump in the comments, let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all think the time that he got was justice? Do y'all think it was too little, too much? Let us know in the comments, man. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm gonna keep on dropping. I'm out. Are you tired of a bunch of social media gurus promising you results with their course, but all they do is take a bunch of information off YouTube and Google, then sell it to you? Well, look no further. Our YouTube Tips and Tricks Masterclass course comes equipped with SEO tips and tricks, along with methods we use to growth hack our YouTube channel. It also includes step-by-step ways to publish your video before uploading to guarantee a great SEO score. Therefore, your videos can rank and be shown to a bigger audience. Views and subscribers don't come by luck, and just how YouTube have an algorithm, you should have one as well that can guarantee you results. We doing websites and softwares we personally use to generate money creating Faces YouTube channels. If you also would like to skip the process and just buy other pre-built accounts, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, we also threw that in there for you too. We went through trial and error, so you don't have to. Click the link in the description or the comments and get started today.